I have my LLM in production, there comes the question of what is the most effective way to monitor systems like this. And this is obviously a rapidly developing field, but here at Wallaroo, the stance that we take on monitoring looks a little bit like this. So we provide a service where you can have your LLM inference endpoint, and that may be hosted in Wallaroo or by one of the other large service providers. And we will log the interactions between the LLM inference endpoint and your users. We can see the input text and corresponding output text. From there, those logs can be monitored by a suite of listener models. And these can be anything from standard processes to other NLP models that are monitoring these outputs. You can think of them as things like sentiment analyzers, or even full systems that check against some ground truth in the case where that's known. From there, these LLM listeners are going to score your LLM's interactions on a variety of factors. And from there, the other functionality of the Wallaroo platform can be used to start to generate automated reporting and alerts in the cases that over time behavior is changing or some of these scores start to fall out of acceptable ranges. In addition to the passive listening that you see here, where these listeners are monitoring for macro level behaviors occurring over the course of many interactions, we also have the ability to deploy these listeners in line to ride alongside the LLM and actually give it the ability to suppress outputs that violate these thresholds from going out the door in the first place. A great example here might be toxicity. If you have a chatbot that is interacting with customers, the customer begins to use abusive language to the chatbot, you want to make sure that that language is not echoed back. And so in the event that that scoring causes the toxicity threshold to be exceeded, then you can actually suppress that output altogether. Now let's see an example of this in action. If I take a look at my Wallaroo Operations Center, I can see a workspace where I have these LLM listener models set up. For this example, you can see that I have one pipeline set up to monitor this LLM, and it's a toxicity monitoring pipeline that scores my LLM's interactions across a variety of metrics, including toxicity, harmful language, etc. Now, I can see here both the pipeline itself, and I will also be able to see my recurring job that is actually listening to my LLM. So here we can see that I have this listener process that is running on a regular basis to score these interactions that my LLM has. And this is essentially a task that is going to rerun periodically based on my settings. I can tweak this to be whatever period that I want, from every couple of minutes to every couple of hours, etc. And I can see the individual runs and their status so that I can go ahead and look at these later. As these results come through, I'm able to look at this pipeline and see from a historical perspective what this data looks like. So if I look at a historical window, I can see periods where my toxicity values are within normal bounds, and I can see what those interactions look like. And I can also see periods where they've exceeded that, and you can see I have some outliers here. Furthermore, I can go ahead and actually look at this period in more detail and even see individual audit logs of the particular interactions that are going to allow me to say exactly what my model outputted and exactly what the scores here were across those variety of metrics, from insulting to obscene language, threatening language, etc. And so this is just one of the monitors available. Wallaroo is actively working on building out a suite of these listeners and partnering with our customers to build out listeners that are specific to their applications, as some are more general, like toxicity, while others require much more customization to a particular use case. And so today we've seen how we can deploy LLMs to production and monitor them using the Wallaroo platform. If anything you saw today was of interest, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be happy to partner on implementing your LLM solution and finding the right fit for you. Thank you very much.